Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, this is Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. Basic human rights are inalienable rights. Those rights that were designed even before you were created and placed here on earth, and they were set to sustain you in all areas of your life that you might experience heaven on earth. Well, that's not happening. Something is wrong. You know, the first part, I'm continuing that 40-year expose that I've been used to do certain things that would give me such wisdom that would allow me to stand before you and say to you things that you already know, but you couldn't trust because you didn't know why you knew. You didn't know that your spirit was speaking to you, and when you did, you just didn't trust it. Well, anyway, I've talked on earlier posts. My first was the one true God. I wanted you to at least get some information about what God has sent to you by a servant that had been out there for 40 years and getting bold enough to tell you. And the second part was to tell you about that part of the world that we live in that is not controlled or manipulated by a love for the one true God, but actually the expression of an anti-God, Satan, so that you can have some distinction between one and the other based upon at least what have been given to me to share with you. And today I'm going to be speaking on what it takes in a situation like what we've had described for us to return as an individual or as a nation back to God. Returning individual and the nation to the true God's plan of life, the approach. To accept the fact of a God, your God, that is responsible for your health, all things necessary to support health in all its phases, to assure that food and shelter is never to be denied, that the sustenance for survival has been provided, and at creation, requiring of you to qualify for your portion. One must commit themselves to the process by engaging in human creation in the form of a job, a career of choice. You accept God's plan for life and abide by it at all costs. Now you got to know what it is. You just can't be listening to strange people. You got to be listening to God. This is a true expression of honor for a power you can't see. You can't touch it, you can't feel it. As evidence of your oneness with this power. When you hear me say you can't touch it, you can't see it, you know what that means. You can't touch it, you know what that means. But do you know what I mean when I say you can't feel it? You know, a lot of people say they got emotions stirred up. They get happy. The emotions going. They start crying and shouting because somebody touched something that is emotionally involving them. And so they claim, well, this is not what God is about. You can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't feel it. And as evidence of your oneness with the power, you respect and treat all humans as God treats you. This is the practice that guarantees peace, guarantees prosperity, guarantees freedom, guarantees joy of life, and the fulfillment of your dreams. This is heaven in the individual, and if the masses subscribe, is heaven in the USA. Knowing that such teachings and practice are foreign to all people, efforts must be made to break down the generations of belief and expose that which has imprisoned them their entire lives. In other words, action must be taken to expose the deception while revealing the truth. The selfishness of mankind following his way or any way but God's way will cause such to rise up and kill anyone subject to God. Such fashions, let me say that again. The selfishness of mankind following his way or any way but God's way will cause such to rise up and kill anyone subject to God in this fashion. This type of death is your eulogy. It is your graduation. You never heard that before. The truth of this approach of ignoring the life you know for a life that requires faith is like getting a sick person to discontinue a medication he's believed serves his life or save his life and trust that God will see you through. What do you think will happen? Yeah. Now let me kind of stag around on that one just a teeny weeny bit. The anti-God approach will be much harder. See, that's kind of simple, but the anti-God's approach is much harder. As one claiming to be godly and owing no due diligence to any God but self, in order to keep faith with his social and economic fakedom, here lying and cheating, covetousness becomes natural. Lying becomes natural. Other evils will follow, such as hatred and bigotry, racism and terror, crime and violence and war, wealth for some, poverty for the many. The whole world is built on deception. Change will require identification and identifying those areas that are problematic and expose the fact while at the same time revealing the truth that frees from the clutches and the chains. In other words, you must be able to identify the lies while sharing the truth. The truth says must also walk that truth before you. What I have shared with you, ladies and gentlemen, is that there are some major things that's going to have to happen for you to straighten up your life. There are some major things that's going to happen in such a way to impact the society in which you live. There's going to have to be some changes made. And you cannot necessarily conform to a constitution that has permitted all of this world, all of this hell that you live in today. Now, there was a time, perhaps, that the Constitution served its purpose quite well. All the slavery and all of the abuse and all of the things that the devil has been able to do since this nation has been here. Now, maybe that was not the intent, but the reality of it is, it has happened. And if you want to make a change where no one is suffering, where we live our lives to make sure that no one suffers, and all we got to do is play a small role, a small part, that's going to be necessary. And it won't happen with people believing that billionaires are the ones that are smart. Millionaires are the ones that you want to be. Yeah, what you're really saying, you want to be free. What you're really saying, you don't want to be in need of nothing that you can't get. All I've been telling to you, all God wants you to know is all you got to do is treat people right. It's already been provided for, but the reason that only some of you got it is because you are going along with a cop that's kicking somebody. You're going along with somebody that's being beat down by someone that's not supposed to be doing it. You know it's wrong, but you're not doing anything to stop it. And that is what brought Donald Trump to be President of the United States. And the church, they say, well, we don't want babies aborted, yet you don't care about folks going to war, killing people. You've been convinced that this is necessary. That's why you murdered the Indians, murdered the natives, should I say, because you were going to get some land. And as long as you got some land, you feel good. I know that for a fact. I grew up watching Western movies. I'm an old guy. When they played a lot of Western on TV, you saw the army out there beating up these natives. They had sticks and you had guns. Well, what were you taught? You were saying this was necessary so you could have a place to stay And I included myself with you. I thought it was great because I had a place to stay. I didn't know I was a slave that had to work this thing for you. See, ladies and gentlemen, the truth will come to the light. So I want to thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me this much of your time to go through these 3 different topic matters. But there's one other one that I have to go through, and it's called the bottom line. Out of everything that I've shared with you today, the last part is called the bottom line. And I will be bringing that to you, and I want you to pay attention to everything I say, ladies and gentlemen, because this is a very, very, very true message. And it's not biased, I promise you. I have suffered. I was in the kitchen table a few minutes ago. I was talking to my brother. We were excited about what this magazine had said about Trump, a religious magazine, right wing. And I'm talking about my possessions. My possessions. I looked over the table. I had a $5 bill, a $1 bill, enough change to make sure to add up to about $10. If my world depended on it, I got $10. $10, ladies and gentlemen. Now that doesn't sound like anybody that's rich. Some people might say that $10 is so much more than others got. Now, isn't that a shame? Yes, that is. So, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, this is Eddie Marcus saying goodbye.